All right, my friends, welcome back to the channel. Gonna throw some jams in. This one I've been throwing some music in some of my videos lately. When I mix it, sometimes the volume that I hear when I'm mixing it does not match what it ends up being, especially on a small device like a phone. So I'm gonna try to get it right so that it's not overpowering. So if that's been the case, I apologize. I know on my Thanksgiving video it was a little loud. I almost re-uploaded it, but then I was like, you know what, screw it. It was just a list of things I was thankful for. It's not that important of a video, so yeah, I just left it. But I'm gonna talk today about something that's coming up collectively for people in the so-called twin flame community. I have a few friends that I keep in touch with, and they're very open with me about what's going on with them and the types of things that they're feeling and processing. And I'm hearing a consistent theme right now, and so we can really posit that this is the energy running through the grids. This is the energy that's coming up in the collective subconscious, unconscious mind fields, and this is something that a lot of people are probably going through right now. And I'm going to share with you something that a friend of mine has kind of been communicating to me about her dynamic, yeah, I've felt this same way. I've felt very much the same way many times. And she essentially said to me this morning, she says, I feel like I failed. I feel like a failure. And she's been communicating to me that, you know, I'll just give you a little bit of background on this person, anonymously, of course. But she's actually in a relationship with someone, and it's a fairly happy relationship. She's pretty happy with the guy that she's with. But this person that she had this awakening experience as a result of meeting, similar to what I've had happen, right? Who she considers her twin flame, right, is on her mind. And he's on her mind in a way that's really, really, it's just bringing up all of the emotions, it's bringing up all the trauma, it's bringing up all the dysfunctional patterns, it's bringing up all the things that we talk about in these alchemical relationships, right? And she's really beating the shit out of herself mentally and emotionally because she's just thinking, why am I still thinking about this person 3 years later? Haven't even talked to him in 3 years. Like, why is this all coming up? Why will my heart not let go of this person? And I'm gonna share with you a few insights that I've had and my opinion on this. First thing is, you have not failed. Okay? If you are still here, if you are still doing this work, if you are still, going through this alchemical transformation, you have not failed. Okay? One of the first things that was shared with me, about all of this was the idea that you kind of can't fuck it up. And I'm not going to fully agree with that. I think that you can, but you got to almost try. Like, for example, one of the things that I've shared is that you can get into these inverted dynamics where you get with like a shadow twin, right? And if you develop your consciousness from that inverted place, you can in fact become essentially a dark one. Like, you can do that. You can choose to go the dark path, the vampire path. That is something that you can do, in which case, yeah, you would have fucked it up in terms of getting into full union with yourself, connected to source, on, what we would call the true path of ascension, right? But barring that, if you're still someone who is, connected with yourself, connected with your true heart intelligence, connected with your true soul essence, and you are still someone who is committed to growth and to becoming balanced, becoming whole within yourself, becoming the best version of yourself, you have not failed. the only way that you can really fail is to give up and to, just decide that, that it's not worth it to try to be the best you can be, right? And I'm gonna talk a little bit right now about one of the common themes with twin flames that you see, right? What you got to understand about twin flames is that we are template holders. We are we are anchoring in these higher vibrational templates, relationship dynamics, right? Relationship archetypes essentially, not just to do with relationships, but just archetypes in general, right? That are in alignment with the original 12-strand blueprint, with the original mechanics of this reality field before what happened here happened, in terms of the reality field being hijacked and the mechanics being distorted. Now, again, if you don't understand this, I'm going to keep referring back to this video because it explains it in a fairly simple way what happened here, and that is the video that I made, What the False Light Gurus Will Never Teach You. Right, and that gives a very basic rundown of what happened here in terms of the distortions and the mechanics and how this reality field became essentially polarized in the way that it is. Now, the law of polarity exists regardless of whether or not we have this tree of life and inverted tree of death and the polarization between beings that are connected to source and beings that are siphoning off of it. There is a polarity in a type of reality field where that inversion does not exist, but it doesn't look the same, and it's kind of detailed, and it's nuanced, and it's not exactly easy to understand at first. But once you do understand it, a lot of things become very clear. Now, essentially, the only way to fail is to stop trying. And so with template holders, right? This will probably be something that you have felt your whole life. It certainly has been something that I've felt my whole life. I remember being a little kid and looking around at the way that everybody treated each other, and I was just like, I don't understand why everybody's so mean. I don't understand why everybody's so mean to each other. Like, I do not get it. I remember being a little kid in school and being bullied and being picked on, and just not understanding why people would make the decision to be that cruel to each other. I just never understood it. I do understand a little bit more now, but I still kind of don't. It just, to me, it seems like common sense that things would just work a lot better if we were just all good to each other, right? So twin flames are often people that will be viewed as very difficult people. They will be viewed as self-righteous. They will be viewed as being kind of holier than thou, or thinking that they're perfect, or thinking that they're know-it-alls, right? And people like myself can definitely come across that way. Will also be viewed earlier on in the journey as being hypocritical, because what we're doing in sort of like a shamanic way, and there's some of us who have full-on shaman templates like myself, right? Who will show this polarity and these extremes to a high degree, right? What we do is we take on all of the distortions, the dysfunctional patterns, all of that. We take it into our genetic template, right? And we take that on from our lineage, from our past lives, from everything that's going on here, right? And so we're going to actually embody a lot of those dysfunctional distortions and distorted archetypes and the inversions and that kind of thing. One of the inversions that I've dealt with and that I've been, kind of processing and looking at more thoroughly is the fact that I've been the feminine in my dynamic. And you see this with a lot of men. You see a lot of guys that are younger that are inverted, that have more feminine energy, so they become like the female in the relationships. And because women are not attracted to that type of thing in this reality field, they end up going through a lot of heartbreak over and over and over. They can't keep a relationship. The girls that they choose to date cheat on them, maybe are a little bit more masculine in their energy, because the women at their core are still attracted to masculinity, but all the archetypes here have been distorted and messed up, right? So the archetype that we've been programmed with and taught that is, attractive as being a man is essentially like an emotionally dead, heartless kind of person. And you see this like when you watch films. So when you watch films, the alpha guy that everybody wants to be with is always kind of like this emotionally cold person who, they have some of the divine masculine traits where they get shit done, they're courageous, they have some of those positive traits, and they have enough of them so that it's attractive, right? But they also have some very, very negative traits which involve essentially forsaking their own heart. And so twin flames have this internal guidance system that's sort of like, I was thinking about it earlier, it's sort of like, how you have a conscience? So you have this voice inside your head that tells you, what's right and wrong. We all have this, right? Well, people that have this template have like a conscience multiplied by like 100, okay? So we have this internal guidance system that's very, very acutely aware. We might not even be conscious of it, but we have this internal guidance system that's very, very aware of what the right thing to do is and what the wrong thing to do is in alignment with these new templates, right? And the more that you avoid listening to that voice, the more distorted that you become. So every time, when your conscience comes up and tells you like this is the right thing to do and you go against that, you're essentially cutting yourself off from your soul a little bit more. And you see this very heavily in the matrix control system, right? Look at a corporate environment. In order to win in a corporate environment, you essentially have to become a monster. Like, you have to become someone who is cutthroat, who's willing to just walk all over other people, who's willing to play that game at a high level. And I know people that have done this, and they know that they've sold their souls. I mean, they know, they've told me. But it's like a price that they're willing to pay. They're willing to give the devil his due in order to have the material trappings and the power and the wealth and that sort of thing. And make no mistake, I'm going to put a clip right here, right now. I'm going to play this.
Come, sit. When I was 16, I won a great victory. I felt in that moment I would live to be 100. Now I know I shall not see 30. You see, none of us choose our end, really. A king may move a man. A father may claim a son. But remember that even when those who move you be kings, or men of power, your soul is in your keeping alone. When you stand before God, you cannot say, but I was told by others to do thus, or that virtue was not convenient at the time. This will not suffice. Remember that.
I will.
Now, this is absolutely true. The people that have done this, right? You do not escape cosmic law. If you choose to be a vampire, if you choose to be someone who goes against their own ethics and someone who forsakes their own heart and soul, it doesn't matter how successful you are, how much material possessions you have, all of these things, right? You are cutting yourself off from your heart, and there are consequences for that. And these people are usually miserable, no matter what it appears like on the surface. Twin flames are the type of people that kind of, a lot of them are, like myself, I'm a Sagittarius, right? I kind of can't help but point these things out to people, and they really don't like it. And, especially like at first, when I was still imbalanced, it's like I was pointing these things out in other people, but I was still being a hypocrite and doing a lot of the same things myself. Now, I've corrected a lot of that. And, the goal is to eventually actually be fully in alignment with those divine archetypes, right? But it takes time, and you're going to be a hypocrite. I mean, there's really no way around it. The paradoxical nature of this reality field at this time is constructed in such a way that it's fairly unavoidable if you have an unintegrated shadow, which most of us do at this point. So what it's about is seeing what this is, seeing it for what it is, understanding what the distortions are, understanding the types of energies that you need to deal with within yourself to integrate, right, in order to become a whole human being. And this is a process, right? It is a lifelong process. It does not happen overnight. But understand that this is a massive amount of work. Yeah, I know there are plenty of New Agers out there. There are plenty of people out there telling you that, you know, you can have the life of your dreams in 30 days. Just pay me, you know, $999.99, right? And, you know, I'll get you into the, you know, whatever course they're selling you this week, okay? Anybody who says that is lying to you. Straight the fuck up. And, you know, a lot of these path workings that, you know, these people offer are moving you into a false light distortion. Moving into the false light, which is essentially running on vampiric mechanics, even though you, at a certain point, will delude yourself into thinking that you're not a vampire, even though you are, because the foundation that your energy that you're getting is built on a vampiric system. That's how it works. So these people essentially become very lighthearted, enlightened vampires, but they are enlightened within the distorted mechanics, within the distorted system. They're not keyed into what's beyond that. And this is the truth. So following the true path in this reality field, when you've got the majority of people moving into false light mechanics, is not easy. It is the harder road. You know, I'm playing a song in here called The Courage to Grow. I hope you take the road less traveled. And it says you can gain the world for the price of your soul, but I hope you take the road less traveled. I mean, this is how it works, man. In order to, you know, you can do really well, a lot easier by moving into their distorted system, right? But really going against what you know is right in your heart. And doing the right thing and, you know, using the proper mechanics and learning proper knowledge is very difficult, and it takes a long time, and it is not for the faint of heart. But please understand that this is a very difficult, arduous process, and it takes a long time. And we have many distortions to work out. We've got a lot of trauma in our lineage and in our own past, in our own past lives. We've got a lot of distortions and trauma to clear, to work out. People who are twin flame template holders are doing a lot of this work for the collective, and so they've taken on a massive amount of this energy, right? Which is why it's so hard. So please cut yourself some slack, because this really is, it's just true. It's just the case. It's just, this is how this works. We came here to do this work, and we came here because we are ancient fucking souls that have done this before, that actually know how to do this. And what it's about is connecting with that hardcore intelligence, with the true intelligence in alignment with source, the higher force, whatever you want to call it, right? And, you know, really doing that work. It's, you know, it takes time. And there is a lot of bullshit out there. There are a lot of people, you know, selling things that, you know, are essentially false paths. I mean, the majority of people are walking down false paths. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. It doesn't mean that, you know, that they have negative intentions. What it does often mean is that they're misinformed, and, you know, they just have not come into alignment with proper knowledge and wisdom. And, you know, a lot of people get raked out into these false paths because they don't know the difference. And, you know, unfortunately, you want to think that the people that have it all together, right, the people that sound the best and that carry the highest frequency from your point of observation are the people that are telling you the truth, but that is not always the case. You can become really enlightened within the distorted reality field and in the false light matrix, and you can appear to be a heart-based being, but it is a Luciferian pseudo love. It is not the true light of source. It is not the true light of true hardcore intelligence. And it's just true. A lot of the people that are actually telling you the truth right now are people that are really, really struggling, but they're struggling because everything in this reality field is set up against that. Everything here is set up to hide the true information and to keep us either completely suppressed or feeding into the Metatronic coding. And that is the truth, So, yeah, please cut yourself some slack. This is not an easy road. If you are on this path and you have this awareness and you are still doing the inner alchemical work, you are a fucking warrior. Like, you're one of the strongest people fucking here, and I promise you that. I realize it may not look like that right now, but you are. Give yourself some credit, okay? Yeah. Don't rely on the validation of people that are caught up in all the traps, nets, and snares to tell you that you're, doing the right thing or doing a good job. You know whether you're doing the right thing for yourself or not. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. Listen to your heart. Your heart knows the way. Your heart is not lying to you. I know it can feel that way sometimes, but it's not. There is a reason. If your heart has you hung up on somebody and has all these feelings coming up about them and you don't understand why, and you wish it would go away, trust there's a reason for it, okay? It's not there without purpose. All of this has a purpose. I promise you. I know it can be frustrating. I know it's a long, hard road. I know what it feels like, to feel that way for years and years and years and not feel like you're getting any relief, right? It's like, when is this going to be done? When am I going to get to a point where this actually, it feels good and I feel balanced and I feel fulfilled? Look at where you were when this all started and look at where you are now and tell me that you haven't shifted and that you haven't done any work. And you know what I mean? You have. You've changed a lot. I guarantee it. It's just, it's like when you're losing weight, right? You look in the mirror every day and, because you're looking at yourself every day, you don't really see the difference until you look back at a photo from 6 months ago, right? Other people who haven't seen you in 6 months will see you and go, wow, you look great, But you look at yourself and you're like, well, if you're like me, I used to have body image issues, so no matter how good I looked, it didn't feel like I looked good, Now I just don't really care that much, but but it's kind of like that. So cut yourself some slack. If you're still here, you're doing a good job, and old Sasquatch is proud of you. I'm gonna be done for today. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you again soon. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button down below and click the icon to your left to subscribe. New content every week about spirituality and addiction from myself, Joe Fortin. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.